Hi everyone, my name is Rose and I'm going to cover Chapter 10 about writing routine and positive messages in business communication today. After studying Chapter 10, you should be able to outline an effective strategy for writing routine business requests, describe 3 types of routine requests, outline an effective strategy for writing routine replies and positive messages, describe 6 common types of routine replies and positive messages. Strategy for routine request. Making requests is a routine part of a business. In most cases, your audience will comply as long as the request is reasonable. By applying a clear strategy and tailored your approach to each situation, routine requests will be efficient and effective. Structure of routine request. Like any other business messages, routine request will have 3 parts: an opening, a body, and a closing. When using the direct approach, open with your main idea, which is a clear statement of your request. Use the body to give details and justify your request, and close by requesting specific action. Stating your request up front. Begin your routine request by placing your initial request first. Up front is where it stands out and gets the most attention. Of course, getting right to the point should not be interpreted as license to be abrupt and tactless. Careful presentations include the following. Pay attention to tone. The tone of your initial request is important. Soften your request with words such as please and I would appreciate. Assume that your audience will comply generally with your request when the reason for it is clear and they see a benefit for themselves. Be specific and state the need precisely. Explain and justifying your request. The body of the message explains the request. Whether writing a formal letter or a simple instant message, use the body of the request to list a series of questions such as follow the opening remark, ask important questions first, but limit your questions to one topic. By doing so, it helps organize the message and help the reader identify important information as well. Requesting specific actions in a courteous close. The closing of a routine request should include 3 important parts or elements: stating a specific request, contact information for possible future communication. If action is requested, a specific date or time for compliance. Conclude messages by sincere, expressing goodwill and appreciation. The next sections will cover common examples of routine request. Common example of routine request. The routine messages that you'll be writing will likely fall into a few main categories, such as asking for information and action, asking for recommendations and making claims, and requesting adjustments. Asking for information and actions, whether there's a need for information or for someone to take actions, the best course for the sender is to simply ask. In essence, simply requests say why you want to know or what you want the reader to do, why you are making the request, and why it may be in the reader's interest to help you. If the reader is able to take actions, a straightforward request will generally result quickly. Use the direct approach by opening with a clear statement of the reason for writing, providing whatever explanation is needed to justify the request, closing with a specific description of what is expected, and include a deadline if appropriate. Asking for recommendations. In business, companies will ask applicants to supply recommendations from references. Before you volunteer someone's name as your reference, always ask permissions to do beforehand. Because requests for recommendations and references are routine, the direct approach is appropriate. Open the statement or message by clearly stating why the recommendation is needed and that a letter is requested. If contact has been limited for some time, use the opening to trigger the reader's memory of the scope of the relationship. Use the body of the message to provide details and reasons for the request, and then close the messages with an expression of appreciation. When asking for immediate recommendations, also mention the deadline. Making claims and requesting adjustment. At one time or another, most consumers have problem with a product or service. Despite best intentions, this is bound to occur, and resolving the situations will be much easier if one is prepared. There are basically two options for handling this type of difficult situations. Make a claim, a formal complaint documenting the writer's dissatisfaction. Request an adjustment to a settlement of a claim. In either case, it's important to maintain a professional tone in all communications. A rational, clear, and courteous approach is best for any routine request. Assume that a fair adjustment will be made and use a direct approach. In the opening, provide a straightforward statement of the problem. In the body, give a complete, specific explanations of the details. Provide any information an adjuster would need to verify the complaint. In the close, politely request specific actions or convey a sincere desire to find a solution. The next section will cover strategy for routine and positive messages. Strategy for routine and positive messages. When you are responding positively to a request, sending routine announcement, or sending a positive or goodwill message, you have several goals: to communicate the information or the good news, answer questions, provide all required details, and leave your reader with a good impressions of you and your firm. Readers receiving routine replies and positive messages will generally be interested in what you have to say, so use direct approach. Use the body to explain all the relevant details and close cordially, perhaps highlighting a benefit of your reader. Starting with the media. The opening routine and positive messages with the main idea or a good news. The audience is prepared for the details that follow. Make the opening clear and concise. The best way to write a clear opening is to first have a clear idea of what needs to be said. Organized thoughts will lead to a concise message that encourages actions. Providing necessary details and explanation. Use the body of the message to explain points completely and concisely so the audience won't be confused and doubtful about the meaning. When providing details, maintain the supportive tone and established in the opening. If the routine message may elicit mixed reactions, convey mildly disappointing information in as favorable a context as possible. It's only when the reader will respond positively to this news that you should use the direct approach. Otherwise, indirect approach would be best to soften the blow. Offering favorable comments to the reader is often a positive way to use the body of the message. While the comments should be honest and thoughtful, they also serve to elicit a positive response to the reader. Ending with a courteous close. A routine or positive message is more likely to succeed if the readers are left feeling that their best interests are kept in mind. This can be accomplished by highlighting a benefit to the reader, clarifying what action is to be taken and whom, expressing appreciations or goodwill. The next sections will cover common examples of routine and positive messages. Common examples of routine and positive messages. Most routine and positive messages fall into 6 main categories: answer to requests for information and actions, grants of claims and requests for adjustment, recommendations, informative messages, good news announcement, and good messages. Answering requests for actions or information. Every professional frequently answers requests. In fact, many receive requests so often that they hardly even notice. It's important, though, to treat all requests with respect and remember that someone needs something. A prompt and gracious response will positively reflect on the sender in his or her organizations. Occasionally, requests include the opportunity of improving business relations. When answering requests and a potential sale is involved, there are 3 main goals. Respond to the inquiry and answer all questions. Leave the reader with a good impression and encourage a future sale. Granting claims and requests for adjustment. Even the best-run companies make mistakes. These unfortunate events may represent a turning point in a relationship between the company and the customer. If the situation is handled well, the customer is likely to even more loyal than before. They now have a reason to believe the company is serious and customer satisfaction about. Conversely, if the situation is handled poorly, the customer will quite capable of taking the business somewhere else. Any response to a customer complaint depends on the company's policies for solving such issues and an assessment of whether the company, the customer, or some third party is at fault. In general, take the following steps. Acknowledge the receipt of customer's claim or complaint. Sympathize with the customer's inconvenience or frustrations. Take or assign personal responsibility for setting matter straight. Explain precisely how you have resolved or plan to resolve the situation. Take steps to repair the relationship and follow up to verify that your response was correct, and then maintain a professional demeanor. Providing recommendations and references. When writing a letter or recommendations, the goal is to convince reader that the person being recommended has the characteristic necessary for the job, project assignment, relationship, or any other objective. Successful recommendation letter include the candidate's full name, position sought, nature of your relationship, relevant facts regarding performance, and an overall evaluation. Be aware that recommendation letters have become a complex legal matter in recent years, so be sure to check company policy before writing a recommendations. Some companies, as well as some individual professionals, refuse to provide anything more than confirmation of dates and of employment. Also keep in mind that when writing a recommendation, you are putting your own reputations on the line. Sharing routine information. Many messages involve sharing routine information such as project updates and order status notification. Most routine communications are neutral. That is, they stimulate neither a positive nor a negative response from readers. In instances in which the reader may not initially view the information positively, use the body of the message to highlight the potential benefits to the reader. In instances when the information may receive a negative reaction, use the body of the message to highlight potential benefits of the news and how it could positively impact the reader. Announcing good news. To develop and maintain good relationship, smart companies recognize that it is good business to spread the word about positive developments. Because good news is generally welcome, use the direct approach. Good news announcements about company successes are often communicated in a news release, also known as press release, a special document used to share relevant information with the news media. In most companies, news releases are usually prepared by specially trained writers. The content follows the customary pattern for a positive message, good news followed by details, and a positive close. Many companies now view the news release a general purpose tool for communicating directly with customers and other audiences, such creating direct-to-customer news releases. And many news releases are crafted as social news releases as well, with built-in sharing aspects such as tweetable bullet points. Fostering goodwill. Sending congratulations. Our prime opportunity for sending goodwill messages is to congratulate individuals or companies for significant business achievements. Congratulatory messages are typically easy to write and always appreciated. In sending messages, appreciation is often an important managerial responsibility and requires the ability to recognize the contributions of employees, colleagues, suppliers, and other associates. This small task results in increased morale and is often kept as a personal memento of proud achievement. Moreover, in today's electronic media environment, a handwritten thank you note can be particularly welcome acknowledgement. When sending a message, appreciation especially mention the person of the people who's being praised. Offering condolence are brief personal message written to comfort someone after the death of a loved one. These messages can feel intimidating to write, but they don't need to be. Follow these 3 principles, just like short, simple, and sincere. This concludes our discussions of Chapter 10, Writing Routine and Positive. Overall, in Chapter 10, we went cover writing routine, positive messages, and business communications. Thanks, everyone, and thank you for tuning in.